Hi there, welcome back to my kitchen. Today we're making the easiest dessert, but it is so delicious and so impressive. No one will know that it only took you a few minutes to pull it all together. It's a no-bake blueberry cheesecake parfait. There's no baking involved, not like a traditional cheesecake. There is a tiny bit of cooking, but I promise it won't heat up your kitchen. I'll just go over the ingredients very quickly. I'm using 3 cups of wild blueberries. They were freshly picked, but it was a huge amount, so I froze a lot of them, and I've just been dipping into these now and then when I want to make other desserts. So 3 cups of blueberries. We're going to simmer that on top of the stove with a little bit of sugar, some water, cornstarch for thickening things up, and a little bit of lemon zest. And then for the cheesecake part, I have a block of cream cheese, some powdered icing sugar, some vanilla, and we'll also be using lemon zest in that as well. And for the crumb part, this is super easy. I'm just using Biscoff cookies. I have half a package that's left over. I'm not sure if I'm going to use all that or not. This recipe will make 4 servings, and I'm going to make mine in mason jars because I think that's a nice homespun look. But if you're having a fancy dinner party, you could make this as well and serve it in a nice crystal glass, and that would be super fancy and elegant. But we're not super fancy and elegant around here these days, so I'm just going to use jam jars. I'll get started cooking and we'll put this together. Okay, so the first step in making our blueberry no-bake cheesecake parfait is to make a very simple blueberry sauce. So I have 3 cups of wild blueberries. I'm going to turn on my burner, pour these into the pot. I've got frozen blueberries. You can use fresh if you like. I have half a cup of white sugar. And I'll give that a stir. We're just going to let that get nice and saucy. And then after that sugar dissolves a little bit and the blueberries start to break down, I'm going to add just a little bit of water and a tablespoon of cornstarch. So just make a little slurry. Just dissolve the cornstarch in the water. And I'm just going to pour that right in. The other thing I'm going to add is a little bit of lemon juice. I had half a lemon left over in the fridge from another recipe, so I just squeezed it. And I'm just eyeballing it. Maybe a tablespoon of lemon juice. Give that a stir. And you just want to bring this to the boil until it starts to be nice and blue and saucy, and the cornstarch will thicken it. That'll probably take about 5 minutes. And this is a step that you can do ahead of time. The blueberries have to cook for a few minutes, and then you should let them cool down completely. So if you were serving this as a dessert with your dinner tonight, I would make this in the morning, let it cool off, and then assemble your dessert. You could even do this a day ahead. So this has reached the boil. That took about 4 minutes. It's already starting to thicken. I'm going to turn down the heat just a little bit. Let that cook for another minute or so. And it's got a very nice consistency right now. I would say you can stop the cooking anytime at this point. I think I would take this off the heat right now. So now that part is done. You can turn off the heat and just set that to one side and let this cool completely. While that's cooling completely, you can get started on your other steps. Okay, so next we're going to make our cheesecake layer for the parfaits. So I have 1 block of cream cheese that I've been allowing to come to room temperature. I just had it sitting out on the counter for a couple of hours. And that's 1 block, 250 grams. And it doesn't matter what brand you use. I have the full fat cream cheese. I haven't tried this with the low-fat cream cheese. You certainly could, but anytime I use low-fat cream cheese and I add sugar and things to it, it tends to get a little runny. So maybe just use the regular full-fat cream cheese. You only live once, right? So I'm going to start my mixer. Just on low speed at first. Just get that going, soften it up even further. And then I have half a cup of powdered icing sugar. I like icing sugar in this because it will mix in with the cream cheese almost instantly. If you use just regular white granulated sugar, you might end up with some graininess and you don't want that. This one is a little easier to mix in. So that was half a cup of icing sugar. I also have a teaspoon of vanilla. And I have the zest of half a lemon. That's about a heaping teaspoon of lemon zest, I would say. If you really like lemon, you can't go wrong. Just grate to your heart's content. Lemon and blueberry are a beautiful combination. I'll give that another little mix. Then scrape down your bowl just to make sure everything is well mixed and very fluffy and smooth. So I find the consistency of this is a little thick. I want it fairly loose because I'm thinking it's going to set up a little bit when it sits in the fridge. So I'm just adding maybe a tablespoon of light cream, and I'll whip that in. That looks pretty good. See, it's nice and creamy and fluffy, and I think that will make the perfect cheesecake layer in our parfait. So I'll just set that to one side, and then we'll work on our cookie crumbs. For the crumb layer of our blueberry no-bake cheesecake parfait, I'm just using Biscoff cookies, just store-bought cookies. I like the flavor of these. You could use graham crackers, like you would in any traditional cheesecake. You can use vanilla wafers, anything you happen to have that you like. And I'm thinking maybe 4 cookies per parfait. I'm not sure if I have that many. I have half a package here. So there's 8, 12. I have just enough. So 16 Biscoff cookies. And I'm just going to put them in a Ziploc bag and crush them up. And my 16 cookies. And you could do this in a food processor. I find that food processors tend to pulverize things a little too much. I just like to crunch it up with my fingers. You can also go over it with a rolling pin. I like there to be a mixture of small crumbs and large cookie pieces. I think that texture is really nice. So just have a look at them every now and then and see if that's broken down to the point that you like. I think I want them just a little bit smaller than that. Yeah, that looks good. So I have a mixture of fine crumbs and just broken cookie. And I think that texture will be yummy in the parfait. So Now for the fun part, we get to assemble. So I have my 4 jam jars. And I have my cheesecake layer and my blueberry layer. You're probably going to end up maybe with more blueberries than you need, but that's okay because the blueberries will make a nice topping for pancakes or ice cream. But we'll see how far we get with this. The first thing is to put a layer of cookie crumbs in the bottom of each jar, and I just have a little measuring cup for that. And just a nice little layer to cover the bottom. Try to make sure they're even. And then a layer of your nice fluffy cheesecake filling. And it doesn't really matter if it doesn't hit the bottom straight on, as the final appearance of the blueberries in contrast with the cream is going to be very yummy. Very yummy in appearance and very yummy in taste. Just take the back of a little spoon and push that down a little bit so it's making good contact with the cookies. So next we'll put a layer of our blueberry filling on top of the cheesecake mixture. Just a nice generous spoonful. Oop. Try to get it in the jar. And then a layer of cookie. And then a layer of cheesecake. Use your spatula to make sure you get every last bit. And again, just smooth out that cheesecake a little bit. Finally, another layer of blueberry. And that's it. I have a tiny bit of blueberry filling left, so they're full to the brim. They can be served just like that. I find they're very nice if you store them in the fridge for at least 2 hours just to get them completely chilled. But aren't they pretty? And to store them in the fridge, the nice thing about using jam jars is you can just pop these little lids right on top. These are pretty full. I hope I'm not going to squish out over the sides. Just be gentle with them. Maybe don't fill them quite as full as I did, but more is more in my book. Doesn't need to be a tight seal. You're not canning these. You're just putting a lid on them so they can go in the fridge. And if you dropped any down over the side, just take a nice damp cloth and then you can just place that on a little platter, a little dessert plate, and serve your guests. And also, if you have any cookie crumbs left, like I do, just take a little, sprinkle it over the top. I'll show you that after these have set up, and we'll give these a taste test. But right now I'm going to put them in the fridge so they can firm up for a little bit. Okay, Okay, our no-bake blueberry cheesecake parfaits have been hanging out in the fridge for a few hours, and we're ready to serve. And to serve, all you need to do is take the little lids off, and I have a few extra little Biscoff cookie crumbles. You can just put a few of those on the top as a little decoration. And let's see how they taste. I think I got mostly blueberries on this one, but really good. The blueberries are now thick and saucy, and the cheesecake filling is creamy and smooth, and then you get that little crunch from the Biscoff cookie. It's really a nice dessert and so easy to make, very summery, and the presentation is so nice too. Your guests will be super impressed when you bring that out after the main meal. Let's have another bite. Yeah, that's a winner. No bake blueberry cheesecake parfait. This is the perfect dessert for the end of summer. If you like this recipe, please let me know in the comments. And if you make this recipe, also drop me a line too and let me know how you enjoyed it. I think it's just a fun presentation to do it in these jam jars, and the covers just seal it off so nicely, so there's always a nice little dessert in the fridge when you feel like a little sweet pick-me-up. I have more really nice seasonal recipes coming up every week, so I hope you'll subscribe so that you don't miss anything, and I'd love to see you back here next week. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.